PowerShot G1 X Mark II review. One of the most exciting cameras that debuted in 2012 was Canon's PowerShot G1 X. It featured a 1.5 sensor which is only 20% smaller than APS-C 28-112mm lens, albeit a moderately slow one, fully articulating LCD, and optical viewfinder, a rarity at the time. The result was one of the first semi-pocketable cameras to offer image quality that rivaled that of interchangeable lens cameras. The G1 X was far from perfect. The lens maximum aperture range of f2.8-5.8 wasn't great. AF performance and minimum focus distance were disappointing. Continuous shooting rates were poor, and battery life was downright lousy. With the Mark II version of the PowerShot G1 X, Canon has addressed many of the shortcomings of its predecessor. For a start, the G1 XI has a faster lens that covers a wider focal range and can't shoot much closer to a subject. It also promises a faster, more sophisticated AF system, improved continuous shooting, dual control dials around the lens, and WIFI with NFC. The LCD has also been redesigned. It now tilts upward 180 degrees and downward 45 degrees, instead of flipping out to the side, and touch functionality has been added, as well. The camera is also significantly smaller than its forebear, now looking more like an overgrown S-series, rather than an outsized G12. Something that got sacrificed in all this was the optical viewfinder, but fear not. You can buy a tilting XGA EVF for $300. Canon PowerShot G1 X Mark II key features 12.8 megapixel 1.5 Type-C MOS sensor, Digix 6 processor, 24-120mm equivalent f2.03.9 lens with optical is dual customizable control rings, tilting 31.04m. Touch screen LCD, 5.2 fps continuous shooting, maintains same angle of view at 4:3 and 3:2 WIFI with NFC with remote control. Via smartphone, 1080/30p video recording, optional XGA electronic viewfinder. The big story remains the G1 XI's 1.5 type sensor, which is around 5.6 times larger than the one found in Canon's own PowerShot G16. The result is still a fair bit smaller than the APS-C sized sensors used in Canon's DSLRs, but then the camera is quite a bit smaller, too. It's interesting to compare the EOS-M, which is similar in body size, to the G1 XI. The built-in lens and smaller sensor allow the PowerShot to remain much smaller than the M would be, were there an equivalent lens available. While the total pixel count of 15 million is the same as on the G1 X, the G1 X Mark II only uses around 13 million versus 14.3. The G1 X Mark II's pixel dimensions show that it's cropping from a sensor that's larger than the imaging area, allowing it to offer the same angle of view for both the 3:2 and 4:3 aspect ratios, something that the original G1 X could not do. The 18.7 x 12.4mm sensor size that Canon has been quoting appears to refer to the 3:2 cropped area. The sensor itself is the same size as the one in the original G1 X. To find out more, read our original first look article. Another significant change on the G1 XI is in the lens department. Gone is the comparatively slow 28-112 f2.8-5.8 lens on the G1 X, replaced by a much more appealing 24-120mm equivalent f2.03.9 lens. The use of a smaller sensor area means these numbers aren't directly comparable, but the new lens is certainly brighter. Where the minimum focus distance on the G1 X was an unhelpful 20 cm and 40 cm in most modes, the new lens can be just 5 cm away from its subject. Canon has also improved the autofocus system, and claims that the G1 X has the fastest in Canon compact camera history. The above chart shows the changes in 35mm equivalent aperture as the equivalent focal length increases. This chart allows you to see the effect of the different aperture and lens ranges. taking into account the different sensor sizes. The G1 XI starts off very well, and bumps into 3 other cameras: the original G1 X, Sony CyberShot RX100 and Canon Rebel with kit lens at 28mm. That doesn't last long, as the G1 X quickly pulls away from all but the Rebel until you reach 50mm, at which point the G1 X Mark II is in a class by itself.
I've broken from the start, chained to our past.